So let's begin with a short, well, story. One day, this guy named John died, and when he got to the pearly gates, he met St. Peter, who welcomed him to heaven. And John immediately noticed that heaven was more incredible than you could ever imagine. Everything tastes better. Everything looks better. As a matter of fact, you don't even have eyes, so you see things even better. I mean, this is the most incredible thing he ever could imagine. And St. Peter starts to tell him, and oh, by the way, everything smells better because you don't have a nose, really. You have the spiritual nose, so you actually have more olfactory sensors going on because you're not being slowed down by the meat sack that you are having down on earth. So it's so incredible that you have your own theme music when you walk around, should you choose to enjoy it. So if you remember from Family Guy, when Peter got to have a theme song every time he walked around, he's walking on the bus, riding on the bus. He had all these great themes. It always reminds me of that funny scene. So St. Peter begins to share all of the incredible opportunities for experiencing heaven. And then he says, though, there is one rule here in heaven. And that rule is do not go through that set of doors over there. There's a door. He said, do not go through that door. And of course, John says, "Yeah, I can do that, no problem. I'm taken in heaven. Why do I got to go through that door? This is more than enough for me." So as time goes on, and he sees all his friends and family, and he's having the grand old time. Everything is exactly how Peter described it, and even better because you couldn't put into words the joy and the experiences that he was having in heaven. But as he was doing it, he was starting to get closer and closer to the door. And as you could imagine, curiosity starts to creep in. And so he spends a little more time towards the door, but moves away. But then finally he notices the door's open a crack. So what does he do? He walks up to it and kind of starts peeking through, kind of going, "Oh, what's going on over there? Let me see." And kind of knocks it open a little bit. And then the door's open and nothing happened. No one said anything. So he walks in, and as he walks in, he notices that this looks like his room is giant. It appears to be bigger than even heaven. It's just incredible. Boxes everywhere, little boxes, round boxes, square boxes, all different sized boxes, little tiny ones, big giant ones, but they're all stacked up in a weird way. And it looked like the inside of that giant warehouse. If you remember Raiders of the Lost Ark, when they hid the ark in that giant warehouse, it was like that. It was expansive. So he starts looking around and he's noticing that there is information on these boxes. There's names and beginning and ending dates. And what he notices is that these are the boxes or the names are so he assumed they're the boxes of the people he saw in heaven. It had their birth date and then their expiry date. So next thing he starts to wonder is, where's my box? So he starts to unpack it, and it works kind of like the Dewey Decimal System. He's able to figure out how to find, he's, at least generally speaking, how to find his box. And so he starts looking around and figures out the system and finds himself in front of his box. And he's thinking to himself, well, what do you think he's thinking? That's right. What's in the box? What's in the box? So he's wanting to open the box, and he's having some thoughts around it. And as he's sitting there paused, he's about to open it. It was just, he's thinking about it, and then he's about to open it, and then boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, it's St. Peter. St. Peter's there. I was like, John, what gives? And he's like, oh my God, St. Peter's like, John, I give you one rule. Really? One rule? You can't follow one rule. And he's like, oh, St. Peter, I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I walked by and then the door's open and I walked in and I couldn't help myself. Oh, I mean, you're not going to kick me out, are you? And he's like, shh, 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 shh. It's okay. It's okay, John. You can open the box. But before you open the box, I must tell you what is inside the box. Inside this box is every laugh you lost, every smile that slipped through your fingers, every opportunity for joy, for excitement, for fulfillment, everything that you could have experienced but didn't because you were playing small. You were living out of fear, out of frustration, out of resentment, out of anger, out of desperation. Every opportunity you lost to experience the life you could have had that would have blown you away, that would have made heaven seem trite. Every opportunity that you didn't take advantage of is in that box. But really, what's in that box is the regret, the pain of not having that life, the pain and of the regret of meeting the person you could have been. And that will be your eternity. Living in the pain of the regret of what you could have been because you played small, because you lived a life fueled with anger, frustration, bitterness, fear, anxiety, depression. Do you want to open that box? So the purpose of this book here, one of my goals in this book, is to help you experience a life to the extent that when you get to the end of your days, you will live a life of so much joy, passion, adventure, such creativity, such incredible excitement that your box will be so small, so infinitesimal that you wouldn't even be interested in looking for it because you will have known that you lived the most incredible life, that you lived your highest ability, that you lived your best life as your best. You gave big, you loved big, you supported big, that you had every joy, every laugh, you touched, moved, and inspired beyond what you ever thought was possible. Isn't that the life you really want? So if it is, you've got to start telling a different story. You've got to stop and change the question. You can't not think. You can't stop asking questions, which your brain is constantly doing. And here's what's going on. Here's what your brain is always doing. It's going like this. It's asking this. Well, actually, right now, don't ask a question. Go ahead. No, stop it. No, just don't ask a question right here. Sit quietly and do not ask a question. And inevitably, when we have this conversation, someone says, well, I didn't ask a question. And then my question is, well, how do you know? Because the only way to know whether or not you ask the question is to be asking a question. Am I asking a question? Or to do your best to focus on one thing. And then while you're focusing on that one thing, you're actually asking, am I focused on that one thing? Is there something else coming in? So we cannot not ask questions. So really the questions we're generally asking are these. What's going on?